There's not going to be an intro this episode.
Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Andrew.
My name is Emily, and we're here today with Andy, who you may know more colloquially as Pedalboard of the Day.
Not pedal of the day.
Not pedal of the day, pedalboard of the day. They are different. They are different accounts.
I could see the potential for brand confusion, though.
Yeah, definitely. I get that sometimes. People are like, oh, we thought you were pedal of the day. And I'm like, no.
Yes.
I'm not pedal of the day. Actually, I started when I talk to people sometimes, I'm like, hey, it's Andy, pedalboard of the day. And I put in brackets, not pedal of the day.
Not pedal of the day. I kind of get that because I'm a copywriter by trade, and I think my official bio says she is not the former NPR Israeli correspondent or NPR former foreign correspondent of the same name. And she is also not the domestic terrorist of the same name. Ask your Alexa about Emily Harris.
Are you on Twitter on Emily Harris? Do people send you really hateful messages because they think you're other Emily Harris?
I don't think people really give a shit about domestic terrorist Emily Harris because her big thing was that she kidnapped Patty Hearst in the 70s.
Okay.
She was part of the Symbionese Liberation Army, which I think most people don't realize, and I didn't realize. Symbionese was not a group of people who needed to be liberated. It was something else entirely. It wasn't free Tibet. It was just a cult.
Cults are fun. I'd like to start one someday.
No.
It's
cult
my
of
backup
personality.
retirement plan. I mean,
I feel
if I make it to about 50, 55, and my retirement funds aren't quite where I needed it to be, it's the easy way to make sure I could retire comfortably.
Well, prison will pay for 3 meals a day for the rest of your life.
Hey, that's if you do the cult wrong.
That's if you're a bad cult leader, which is most of them.
I'm not a huge fan of Kool-Aid myself. But
Flavor Aid. And also a lot of people died, so that's just
dark.
think about that when you make that joke. It's pretty dark. It's pretty bad.
Very dark. But it does call out the dangers of institutionalized religion without checks and balances. But
okay, that's a great start for this podcast about guitars. We're already talking about cults.
You can join the cult of John Mayer.
The cult of Silver Sky. Andrew, surely you can see yourself clipping. Surely you could see how that's clipping.
Sorry, next time I'll do this. Oh!
That's better. Can all the listeners agree that was better?
That was better.
That was better.
Sorry, guys.
Better. It was better. It was better. So, Andrew, what's new with you?
Sleep. Just kidding. That's not absolute. That's not a thing at all. You got me right as I was about to get a sip of my morning caffeine boost.
See, mine's just coffee.
I'm going to make coffee after this, but I literally rolled out of bed about 15 minutes before we started, so I've been up for half an hour.
No, you both look refreshed, though. You don't look like it's 9 in the morning.
I usually get up at 7 in the morning, but
I've been awake since 7.
Man, I screwed up my routine the other day. I stayed up late Thursday night playing games with a buddy. We usually play games on Wednesday night.
Video games?
Video games, yeah. Age of Empires Definitive Edition. Or Age of Empires 2 specifically. We usually play Wednesday night, ended up playing Thursday night, but I already have my gym session scheduled for Friday morning because, I'm one of those swole bros now. And
well, it's Orange Theory swole bros.
Right. No, I don't have one of those tank tops that's cut all the way down to the waist yet.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Is that your
when
goal?
I get to that point, if I get to that point, please have an intervention. I'd really appreciate it.
I'm trying to visualize tank top cut all the way to the
the armholes that are cut all the way down to the waist, so you can see your navel.
Yeah.
Every time
my buddy Kyle
flaps.
And side boob, the
side boob. Yeah. I gotta say, as a chested woman, I can't wear any shirt like that because it just pops out. It just is all side boob.
If my husband did that right now, I'd have the same thing, but with my beer gut.
Side gut.
Yeah, my husband. Yeah, meanwhile, my husband's like, "No, don't stop wearing that. Don't stop wearing that around the house."
I stayed up late Thursday and realized I forgot to take I take medicine before I go to sleep at night, and it renders me dizzy and not with it for about 8 hours after I take it. And so if I stay up late and forget to take it, I'll wake up still feeling the effects, but usually I wake up feeling fine. Like I took my dose last night, 11 hours ago. I'm fine now. So I got up, was still feeling dizzy, decided to go to the gym anyways. And yeah, that was
That's not a great idea. Yeah.
No, I left about 2/3 of the way through after realizing I'm going to puke in my mask or I'm going to walk out in shame. And I chose the latter.
Well, I mean, I think that if you puked in your mask, you would also be walking out in shame. So really, it was just like, I can have both or I can have one.
That's a positive way of looking at it. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I run every morning and I run to an area. It's just like, it's like a park and there's no one around in the morning. And I'm always fearful. Like if I get a heart attack while running one day, I'm like, no one's going to find me. I'll just be here for like a few hours. And that for some reason that always terrifies me. But
is your wife home, like waiting?
Yeah.
Like waiting for you?
It's like,
okay, well then she would probably be like...
Yeah, it's
yeah, but unless she's like timing it, it's like the 5 minutes it takes to die from a heart attack or whatever. She's like, oh, you just must have needed a breather. And then by that time, it's too late.
It's too late.
I feel like usually there are symptoms of the heart attack beforehand, but yeah, sometimes if you push, you do have a cardiac event. That's kind of unexpected.
No one's going to find me.
Wow.
I'm like, should I go run it?
We're such fucking bummers today, y'all. Like, oh my gosh.
Hey, look, after the last year of the collective reckoning of our mortality, I think we'll be all right with a little bit of dark humor.
I think we can laugh about it a little bit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can laugh about it.
Anyways, that's more or less what's new with me. I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to get into a routine that I have planned out that is going to be good and healthy for me, and that is going to lend me to having more energy and better healthy lifestyle overall, which means I can up the amount of work that I can actually do. I'm enabling my own workaholism. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, we are nothing if not workaholics. Isn't that right?
So, Emily, what's new with you?
Well, I haven't opened it yet, but I got a big old box from Fender. It's sitting right over there. I think it's the Chrissy Hine Telecaster.
Ooh.
So it's supposed to be. I always film the unboxing for guitars, and then I just either forget to use it or just don't. Like I did an unboxing for the Contemporary Squire Strat, and then I just was like, I forgot to use that. Oops. And then I accidentally deleted the Yvette Young unboxing. I'm like, maybe I just am not great about it. But I also, unboxings are cool, but for guitars, I think it's probably more important for me to spend some time with them and like tell you what I think is wrong with them. And then other people can tell me what I'm wrong about. So, hey, that's the big thing.
Have you bought a tuner yet? Because if I was going just off the comment section alone, I think you've been without a tuner for about a year now.
Oh my God. My Twitter bio says, can I read my Twitter bio for y'all really quickly?
Sure.
Let me find it
first. You get pretty like hard comments about the tuning, I gotta say.
It's probably fair. It's like, okay. Host of Get Offset. Yes, I tuned the guitar before I started filming the demo video.
Yeah, but I have a Telecaster, no matter, it says it's in tune, it's never in tune. I don't know why, I just can't tune that guitar. It just makes no sense and it drives me absolutely crazy.
I did have to intonate the her signature Strat. And so, that one I did do some work on after some comments about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, it doesn't sound correct. But it's definitely intonation and not a matter of iTune. I don't think it's the nut because the intonation really fixed it a lot. But like someone was like the Squire Strat. They're like, please tell me you didn't intonate it because there were some parts where it sounded out of tune. I'm like, no, I didn't intonate it. I really did not because I want you to know what you're getting out of the box. Yeah, because most people, I'm sorry, Squire guitars. I think most people who buy Squire guitars Like, I would say like a good probably 30% of them are like going to put in the work on their own or going to intonate it. But the other ones just want to like bang around on a guitar.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
when I got the J Mascis Squire and I posted about it, everyone's like, cool, what mods are you doing? It's like, I just got the guitar. Like, I want to enjoy it as is for a bit.
Yeah, that's what everyone okay, so what mods?
What is this, a Honda Accord? Come on, chill.
I think it was Jim Bryson who we had on, and he talked about his J Mascis, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well the first thing I did was I changed the neck. I put a new neck on it, and then I did this, and then I did that, and then I changed the electronics, and then he's like, and then I sent the body off to MJT, and I'm like, so I think he kept the bridge in the vibrato system,
which we all know is desirable.
The pick guard, yeah,
best part.
And well, actually, it's a bridge that a lot of people do want for their Jazz Masters versus the stock. So it's the pick guard, the bridge, the vibrato system, a completely different body finish, and a different neck. And I'm like, wow.
For the low price of $1,897.
Well, for me, what ticked me off, everyone's like, cool, awesome. I have a great place you can replace the pick guard. It's like, I got it because of the pick guard. Why would I replace the pick guard?
The pick guard's the best part of those guitars.
You guys can keep your gold anodized pick guards. I can't do it.
No?
Every time,
no one's asking you to.
If I play fingers, I remember the first time I encountered one, I was so confused because I was in high school, never seen one before. It was on a bass. So I went to go start playing, and my fingernail inevitably like caught when I was playing up on the G string, and the fingernail sound. I'm like, oh my god! I can do I not kidding. I can do nails on a chalkboard. Doesn't bother me. Nails on
I don't think I rest
pick guard. Ugh.
I don't think I rest.
It doesn't feel so bad.
Fingers there.
There's something deep inside my soul that just immediately dies.
That happens with cotton balls. Even thinking about squeezing a cotton ball gives me like.
Oh yeah, I worked with
deep.
See that I don't get it with cotton balls, but I could see where someone would though.
I worked with a woman who literally we had to. Cotton balls were part of our job. It was like airbrush tattoos. I know I've done a lot of jobs. And we had to get like alcohol wipes just for her and to be used when she was working. So like we accommodated her phobia, which I think now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, this company I worked for, they were bad, but they did accommodate a phobia for a teenage girl, which is actually kind of impressive. Now that I think about it,
I wish some like off-the-counter medicines would stop putting that counter ball in there, because when I open up a counter ball, I'm just like, oh god, I have no choice. I need that.
Right? Oh, one of the worst experiences of my life on an airplane is I had bought one, like some ibuprofen or something. I was anticipating having a headache at the airport. It was not alcohol related. I forget why. I think it was just because I didn't say. Anyway, so I go to open it up on the plane, and there's the cotton ball, and I go pick it up, and it is the poop, and everyone's like, what is that? It just looked like smoke, and with all of that air circulating, it just did like a little tornado thing. It was horrifying.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I'm not sure what to expect right now.
So sorry.
I'm not sure what to do with this information.
Today, okay, so as we're recording, it is National Biomusical Instrument Day, and Reverb tweeted, "What's at the top of your list?" And I said, an Elvis Costello signature Jazz Master and the Fender Tenor Telly. And someone responded to my tweet and said, I have a butterscotch tenor telly I need to sell maybe the next month or two. I'll keep you in mind if you're interested and can wait a bit. I enjoy your podcast and YouTube. I'm like, oh, yes.
There you go.
Oh, Marty. If you're listening, Marty, or watching, I'm going to be interested in the next month or two. Oh, my gosh. All right.
So if it's like,
because I think it was like the working. I've really fucked up this episode. I think it was the working class music episode where I pointed out that somebody was selling 3 tenor tellys on Reverb, would not separate, and was asking like $5,000 for them. I don't like that person.
I hate people who do. Sorry if any one of your listeners are those type of people, but like we have like Kijiji in Canada, which is like Craigslist, and people are like, "I'm selling my pedals. I'm not individualize them. It's either you give me $3,000 or you get none of them." It's like I only need one. I only need one of what you're selling.
People do that here.
It drives me nuts.
I think there was for a while on Amazon, there were people who were selling like fully loaded pedal boards with like the trendy pedals of the day, including like Chase Bliss stuff. And I always thought that was really niche.
I mean, you got to like really find someone who wants all 30 of those pedals, right? Like, or like, I guess not 30, but like 10 or 12. Like people are like,
I was about to say 30 pedals for $3,000. I'd be like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, no.
Is that
usually
is that $100 a pedal?
Yeah,
and none of them are a buffer.
I hope they're all analog drive-through, or else someone's going to be really mad.
Right. Get flashbacks like the Gear page in 2010.
Oh my god! All right. So what's new with you, Andy?
New with me? I mean, what can be really new? Or it's kind of still like where I am. There's kind of still like a curfew in place, and stuff is kind of closed. So, what am I doing? I'm just waiting until next week when all this stuff is lifted where I am. So hopefully we can get back to some normal life.
You got any nice new gear though?
I have a couple I can't show right now, but I'm excited about the ones that are coming out.
This launches on June 1st, so I don't know what next week looks like. Oh yeah,
okay. Can I just like pull it off the board? Just give me a second.
Yeah, as long as it's okay to launch it by June 1st.
Well, that's up to the company because sometimes they screw up release dates, but this should be. I guess what's new? There's a baby on the way in 2 months, so so that's why.
Congratulations!
I guess I'm gonna have to choose between the Nintendo and the guitars. I'll choose the guitars definitely.
I would choose the guitars. And then when the kid gets old enough, Nintendo probably will be some fun stuff.
The Switch won't exist anymore.
Yeah, well. My husband took out his Game Boy Advance or whatever, and it still worked. He's like,
Melissa found her childhood Game Boy Colors last month. I'm like, wait, what?
All right.
Yeah.
I still have one. I still have a Game Boy Color.
I still have one in a shoebox somewhere.
It's around.
I'm scared to look at what they're going for on eBay right now because
really,
if we're not gonna play them, I wonder if we could.
I don't know. That's a game.
I feel like they're not worth much. Like it's like Pokemon cards. They're not worth anything because everyone collected them and everyone kept them.
I'm sorry. Pokemon cards are actually worth a lot now.
Oh, really?
A Game Boy Color is like $55.
Yeah, it's not worth going through the trouble of. That's not even worth.
And there's a lot of
them. eBay.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. 3,000 results for Game Boy Color.
Speaking of listings, does anyone ever get way too lazy to put a description in a Reverb listing or a Craigslist listing? It's just like, I have the box.
Sometimes I just link to a product page or I link to my demo. Like, this is me playing this pedal. I
haven't sold on Reverb in quite some time. But when I did, I in the back of my head, it was always I'm a funny guy. Line number 1. Line number 2, if I write a funny caption, I will be able to sell it for more than the lowest price that's currently there.
I don't know if that's true.
And
did it work?
Yep. No. I'd like to think I made someone chuckle at some point somewhere, but I think I realized that's when I shouldn't quit my day job for stand-up comedy.
No.
Although that would be more than
just kidding.
And tap comedy, but... Well,
you can't hear it, but I actually have the a little drum machine on my Akai MPK Mini Pro.
Is that recent?
Nobody can hear it. Please?
Did you just get that or no?
I just reset it up.
Okay.
I changed computers and never put the software back on this computer. So yes. Let's just go ahead and do some housekeeping. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you want to support the podcast, we are on Patreon at patreon.com/Get offset for as little as $5 a month, you can get special access to our group Discord server, which is quite a lot of fun. What else can I say about that? We have a new Patreon supporter. Let me find their name. Jason Porritt at the $5 a month. He is now in the Discord. Welcome to the Discord. Jason and Brett are the two newest $5 members. And then Jordan Beal at our $1 level. I might have mentioned him last week. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a good deal.
Thank you. And thank you. It is a good deal.
It's cheaper than the Pedal movie, which apparently was very expensive according to the gear page. So that's a great deal. Oh my
gosh. You and I both were like dicking around on that page, and it was I was like, I can't respond to some of these people.
I applaud your willingness to even look. I can't bring myself to look.
If there is bait, I will take it. I'm incapable of not taking the bait sometimes, and I'm just like, you got to stop. Just let it go. I can't let it go.
Some people did not like things that were said, and I liked playing a game where I tried to guess: is somebody mad at me, or are they mad at Fabi, or are they mad at Sarah, or are they mad at one of the other women,
or all of them at once?
All of them at once. All of them at once.
Women as a collective is probably the answer there.
One of the Pedal movie iTunes reviews.
I feel like
they were pretty amazing.
I feel like it was one comment away from someone saying like, "Oh, there's women in this movie." Yeah, I'm not watching it. Like it was.
It felt that way. It definitely felt that way to me too.
Oh,
let's go to reviews.
Speaking of iTunes reviews, please rate, comment, subscribe, etc. Whatever you're supposed to do in iTunes. I don't know. We'd appreciate it. Write a review.
It's Apple Podcasts, and yes, please do write a review, but only if it's a good one. But
But also, if you want to write a bad review, like leave 5 stars, but then eviscerate me. And I'd actually read that. Yeah. I won't take the bait because I can't respond on that platform, but I would read it, and I'd probably cry a little bit, then come complain about it in the podcast, and then get over it. So.
Oh yeah, here's one. The title, it's a 4-star review for the Pedal movie. The title is "White Men Are Evil," and it said, "Enjoy the doc, but why do you have to shoehorn in the woke white men are evil thing?" One, nobody fucking says that. All we said was that it's an industry that's primarily been dominated by white men until recently. What? There was one, it looks like one got, it looks like one might have gotten removed.
I think we've spoken about this, on my account, like I have 146K followers, and it's 97% men. Like, that is
well, that's
crazy disproportionate.
Is that your YouTube?
That's the Instagram. And then the YouTube is...
Oh, that's pretty bad. My Instagram's a lot better.
And then the YouTube is 100%, which is nuts.
Oh, that's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
I've said this before. It is.
Yeah.
Well, basically, Google guesses your gender based on your interests, so it's pretty skewed. I could go into Google and you can actually see what Google thinks about you. I forget exactly. I've done it a couple times. It thinks I'm a dude. I know it thinks Megan L is a dude. We've both done it, is my understanding. I think. I'm sorry if Megan, if you haven't. Let me see. Here's another 4-star review called "Good Time." It feels like the criteria for the interview section was must have a lot of YouTube subscriptions, so I don't apply, and be approved by woke folks. It was especially weird to hear the anti-white male bitterness from one guest near the end, which is too bad because to just casually throw in a resentful judgment about society without deeper investigation against the vast majority of the aficionado and customer base was a bit of an eye roll. Sort of leaves the viewer feeling like he put sort of SORT''VE, so sort have instead of sort of. I've actually never seen that. Sort of leaves the viewer. I've never in my life seen that. And I am now wondering if this is the correct way to say that, but I don't think it is.
Communication skills on display here are...
Yes. We've
So
now
good.
left the guitar pedal realm to discuss the political viewpoint of our customers and the fact that near the end of the film leaves the worst part of the movie as the final taste in the viewer's mouth. Okay, blaming what makes up to 95% of your customer base, which I think most pedal builders know that's not quite true anymore, for what you perceive to be anti-woman minority society while living in society. But you participate in society. I'm very smart. Which also happens. Yes, got him.
You know this. You know what this means,
Got him.
Emily. You're ruining the pedal industry. You're just ruining it.
I am. The largest opportunity for both women happens to, let's see, society, society, this is fucking amazing. Society as a whole, this person says, happens to provide the largest opportunity for both women and minorities on the entire planet. Society provides the most opportunities. What does that mean? What does that mean? All while living in the most luxurious and safest time in human history. All white people complaining about how unfair it is. Actually, that wasn't true. It wasn't just white people complaining about it. Yes. Okay. That was really weird.
So much
really
to unpack there.
Truly a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. I just
the white
I just don't get the
thing.
jump from this is a 2-hour pedal movie talking about pedals, and there's like a 5-minute bit about how people feel about the industry, and then that just sets people off and they just get so angry about something that's, I wouldn't say it's not innocuous, but like it is innocuous in the sense that like there's just people expressing how they feel about the industry and in the way it is, and it's like then it offends other people who are just like, well, how dare you feel that way? Now you're offending how I feel about the pedal industry, which I don't think is the case, right? It's just so strange. And then
I don't get the whole like white men are evil thing. I've never said that. I'm married to a white man. Oh, wait, is that bad logic?
Also, the movie was like 90% white men. So how?
It was.
What kind of message is this movie sending now?
Yes. That's actually something that I watched most of it with Melissa, and she's like, wow, it's a lot of white dudes. And like kind of going through the earlier years, I'm sitting here like, okay, well, yes, but also some of the artists that they're quoting and speaking to are not just in the category of white men, and so I'm wondering if the engineering aspect of it that was necessary was a skill set that was only attainable under certain circumstances, such as being able to serve in a particular British military world or have enough money to go to school, etc. Have all these things.
That's definitely valid. And though there have always been women in music, there's also the case of a lot of those women were more relegated to like assembly line stuff. So it's always involved women. Like Joe Braga, one of our Patreon supporters, found a tone bender, a 1.5 tone bender from the 60s or 70s, and Josh Scott said it was probably assembled by a woman in Italy, because that's who there was also always this idea that because women had generally smaller hands than men, we are often more talented at things that are tactical, that involve like fine motor skills. So that's things like assembling pedal boards, things like winding pickups. That's why some of the most sought after guitar pickups in the world are wound by women, including Fender, very famously, and MJ at Seymour Duncan are just two examples of that. But there've always been women in music. It's just we haven't always been the people who were like the figureheads of the company. And that's I think that's an important distinction to make. And that's why I think it was so important that they were able to talk to like Fran. So
basically, I'm gonna get a ton of hateful messages after this podcast, right? Like,
oh yes, yes. Actually, we don't get too many. I haven't even looked at our iTunes reviews in a while. Have you, Andrew?
I haven't. No. Which
I don't
I
think
probably
we've gotten
shouldn't
one
say out
in
loud
a-
after I just told people that I would read their hateful iTunes reviews. But
I'm the one who reads them, and like, should I protect Andrew from seeing what somebody said about him?
No, so I think because I'm thinking through, like I don't think we get a lot of hateful messages. I think we get the occasional, like it's usually someone who's like, oh, like you're pretty good for a girl. Do you want lessons?
Wow.
Or here's something that you could have done better.
Yeah, I've gotten that one a couple times.
There's been a couple that have gone to like the are you sure you want to read this message bin in Instagram that have. I usually don't spend a lot of time reading the messages on the Instagram since that's mostly Emily's domain, but I do cruise through sometimes. And if I notice that there's been a message that hasn't been touched in like 3 or 4 days, I'm like, oh, I know this is going to be good because Emily's just ignored it. It's that bad. And so I'll go and read it. I'll get a kick out of it and then I'll delete it. If I've noticed like the same name in that bin for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, Emily did not want to deal with this.
I just
know.
And what's funny is I just delete the porn ones right away, and then I just leave the ones that I find like annoying, like the Instagram butt models and stuff. Like I just delete those. But the other ones, I'm gonna be honest, Andrew. I think that you and I both get equal number of like negative comments on the podcast element. Obviously, you're not in the demos, but every once in a while, someone will say like, "Gosh, someone old man Zen who I really enjoy," and he meant this like as constructively as possible. He said that like when we were really tired because we've been doing we did 4 episodes in 2 weeks, which was just kind of a lot.
Yeah.
He's like, I feel like I'm watching like one of the shows on the last tour a band has before they quit. Or something like that. And I was like, I was pretty grumpy that day. He's like, it wasn't you.
Yeah, no.
Did you see that one? He's like, you were kinder than I would have been. I'm like, I don't know. I was pretty fucking grumpy that day.
No, yeah, I think I needed that break really bad, especially trying to cram all those episode recordings in a short period of time, and then also what I had going on personally. I was getting like 5-6 hours of sleep at night, going for weeks on end.
Yeah.
Wow. Doing a lot better now. So like when I say like what's new with me and I say like sleep and I like kind of joke, but I'm also kind of serious. Like I'm in a much better place right now than I was even 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah. Same. I thought break was great. Can we talk about our sponsor though?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude.
Whoa, that was a really great segue because our sponsor this week is Rude Tech, based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Their newest pedal is the 3 Muff 14. It is 3 Russian big muffs in the same box, the black, green, and Civil War, with the traditional sustain, tone, and volume controls with some extra fun things. What I especially love is this tone bypass toggle. Gives it a much more open SoCal sound. And you also have the mid drive, which will be placed after the fuzz circuit. It's optional. And I think it really mellows things out a lot. And I think it's just really, truly a stellar pedal. Like I'm so impressed by this fuzz. This is definitely like, if you think you don't like big muffs, like give this guy a try. Because if you don't like this, then you probably just don't like fuzz at all.
I definitely, the first thing I would do plugging in that pedal is turning that red knob all the way up. That's definitely what I would do.
That's good.
What does the red knob do? I don't know. Let's turn it all the way up.
That's fine.
To infinity and beyond.
Honestly, any drive pedal or with pedal with a tone knob, I turn the tone knob 100%. That's the first thing I do when I turn on.
Oh my God. I think I watched a demo, and I'm not going to name names, but I think somebody did that on a demo of a pedal that otherwise I think sounds really good. And then their demo was like, I'm like, I don't know what's wrong. Another thing from Jesse from Rude Tech does is it's this confusing because this is a pedal called the Ain't Afraid. It's a 1 Knob Fuzz. I actually bought this one as a kit. Jesse sells it as a kit. Ain't Afraid was Jesse Zazu from the band Those Darlings. She had cancer, and she had a very public battle with it, and she had famously made in some shirts that said "Ain't Afraid" on them, as in not ain't afraid of cancer, ain't afraid of dying, and so he made this in honor of her. Goes to a great cause. So over the course of a couple live soldering sessions, and if you think that you don't like soldering, wait until you do it in front of internet strangers. And then you go to plug it in at the end of the video and you realize you fucked up the input jack and it didn't work. But I got it working. I fixed that one thing. easy peasy. And it's a really nice sounding little fuzz box. So I think they're like $80. So if you can't quite make the investment on the 3-Muff 14, this is really good. Jesse did put together a great video showing the assembly, which I thought was very helpful. And yeah, really, really neat. Really recommend it. Check out Rutech. Let me get the actual URL. I'm so prepared. Rutech.com.
I agree with everything that was just said.
Good. Oh, they're $75. The kit's $75.
That's really good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And it was the first time I put together a pedal from a kit where the PCB board, it had like a little foot stomp switch board, so I didn't have to like take all the little like ends and do that because they already had a little circuit board just for the switch, and I really appreciated appreciated that. So clean. Very, very much easier than what I've ever had to do before. Like, all the parts, the resistors that you snipped, you got to keep them because you're going to have to solder. I'm like, fart. I don't want to do that.
Actually, when the pandemic started, I got way more people asking me like, hey, have you ever done any kit stuff with kit pedals? I think a lot of people didn't have much to do and
wanted a hobby. Oh, yes. People love their hobbies. God bless. Cool. So I think that's good for the sponsor spot.
Alrighty.
I hope Jesse agrees. So yeah, now let's talk to Andy, because Andy, you're usually anonymous. I don't think a lot of people have seen your face.
No, this is, I think,
it's a great face. Why do you hide this face?
I'm a very shy person. Very, very shy. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm very like online shy. In person, I'm not shy. I don't know what it is. As soon as the camera goes up and I get to hear my own voice, I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah, no, I had to get past that when I started putting myself in demos.
I'll never get past it. Like, I get so stiff, even the way I speak. Like, I'm very animated in person, and then as soon as I like, even if I do a live stream on Instagram, I'll still sound like I'm terrified.
It's awkward. It's definitely something that you have to get used to, and I think a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to talk into a camera.
Also, yeah.
I was just gonna say it's difficult, and it's not the sort of thing that you can like just take like a checklist or like, okay, do these things and you're all good to go. It's like, no, it takes practice.
Yeah.
And I still don't like listening to myself either, and we've been doing the show for 2.5, almost 3 years now.
Yeah, I think that since I'm the one that edits and I do the watch parties and I did the listening threads, I just got past it a lot faster. I also, I did like an EP in college. I had to kind of like, it's hard and it sucks, but you really have to listen to your voice and know how it works, and what its strengths and weaknesses are. Otherwise you're just never you're never going to advance.
No.
But then again, there are some very famous actors who don't like watching their own performances, like Adam Driver. He will leave the room.
Really?
Which I'm like, how do you get good?
He left an NPR interview when they tried to play back one of his scenes for him so they could talk about it.
Well, and because he had told them, to be fair to him.
Yeah, he said
he told them it's a phobia. Yeah. Basically, is what he says. So I thought it was pretty shitty of him to not do that. But yes, get back to Andy.
I have the driver phobia then. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. I just can't. That's definitely, but I did it for you. I mean, it's not so bad, to be honest.
I say you're doing it right now, and I think you're doing a really great job.
I did. I'm not going to plug. I did a different podcast last year. I won't plug another competitor, but no,
you can plug it.
No, I did the Guitar Knobs podcast, so I think that was like an easy icebreaker. So that was just voice. Now this is voice and video. Maybe next it'll. But to be honest, it's also like, it's just so much work. I don't know how you do it. Like, I feel like it's just an extra layer of work to start showing yourself and then filming yourself and editing. So I try to keep it small because maybe you share it. I feel like musicians are also semi-lazy sometimes.
Dude, like one of the reasons I started like with the podcast, I didn't have myself in the demos at all. I'm like, because I can just do it in pajamas without makeup, without like making sure I look good. And honestly, I had to start putting myself in the demos because I'm not doing like the amazing like compositional stuff like that Megan L and Ann Slakowski are doing.
Yeah.
And like yeah, they can get away with it. I'd love to see their beautiful faces more though.
But that's also like, I think like my art, like my photography or like cinematography skills are so limited. So I just kind of try to keep it as simple as possible because I just don't know what the hell I'm doing, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you have to learn so much to start doing this, to just start doing demos. Like you have to be not only a musician, you have to be technical enough to understand the pedal, which is its own thing. Then you have to be technical enough to understand how to work cameras. And then you have to learn like an editing software, and they're all a little bit different. And then you have to like watch other demos, notice what they're doing, and be like, oh, yeah, there's string noise in my demos. How do I get rid of that?
No, but I think we've had this conversation a few times, and it's just kind of like, I get a lot of people asking me like, how do I start? I'm like, it's a lot of time and it's a lot of learning. And, like it's little stuff. I remember when I started, I would put text, but I would leave the text up for like a second and a half. And it's like, it's like all these like weird mistakes, and then finding like how many seconds should a text block stay up? And it's like all these
depends on the text block.
Yeah, so it's all these little things, but it is a lot of work, like you said. I mean, I don't even do anything intricate, and it takes me a few dozen hours to get something in between learning the pedal, writing for the pedal, making mistakes, refilming, because I think like it often happens where I don't read the manual sometimes, and then I realize during editing that
I have to refilm the demo.
The knob does nothing, but I've been turning it all video because I don't have this switch on. So yeah.
To be fair, we were talking about before we started recording. Andy and I were talking about like a 3 knob like overdrives, and I was talking about how like the litigator, I had not realized that I'm like, it's a 3 knob Marshall blues breaker type of like it's a blues breaker. Like I got this. And then I go to turn one of the knobs, and I'm just kind of like, this makes a noise when you turn it. I just really powered through the demo, and then at the end, I just like ruined my whole fucking take. I was like, yeah, I can't release this. And then I just like stopped filming. And then I reached out to Dan, and he's like, from Spun Loud, he's like, it's supposed to do that. I'm like, yeah, maybe and then I find the manual because it was in the box. It was just like a card. I guess I probably wasn't even sure if it was a manual, because sometimes I don't even get one. And I was like, ow, it does say so right there.
But a lot of the other stuff that happens that you don't realize, and sometimes it's a pain in the ass, is like in the room, because I'll play with my amp, and let's say I'll have like a reverb and I'll have the mix fairly high, because in the room you don't hear the kind of effect as much. But then when you listen to the recording after, it's like, whoa, this is like overwhelming. I got to re-record to make sure I don't like keep the mix knob too high in the demo. It's like, it's little stuff like that, but it takes time. It's not just a matter of like, I'm just going to pull up my camera and start filming type of thing. Another
thing I do is I'll sometimes plug my in-ears directly into the Iridium because I can get a louder signal to my ears than I can from my Focusrite. And the Iridium headphone out jack also has like a high ground noise. It has that loud noise. Andrew, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm like, is this in the video? I think it was a Squier Strat one I did. And I was like, oh, you can really hear like how much noisier it is in these positions, because it's not traditional like 1 through 5 switch. It's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Like the 1 position's like a humbucker, and then the 3 position's a humbucker, and then the 2 is the middle. It's like, it doesn't make it's not normal. And I could hear it really well in my ears, and I go back to edit the video. I'm like, it's not that noisy. Yep. Yeah, you're like, oh, wow, okay, well, I was complaining about the noise, and you can barely hear it. So normally it's the other way around. Someone else is complaining about the noise, and I'm like, I think it's fine.
So. Yeah, it's just it's a lot of work. I get a lot of those like, how long does it take and stuff like that. It's even like the startup. I think we've said like everyone starts like with their own pedals type of thing, and it takes a while to build. Yeah,
everybody wants to know how to get how do you get the free pedals? I'm like.
But they're not free.
Spend a lot of money.
But they're not free. I mean, it's a lot of work that goes into it, right? I mean, it's free if like, I don't know, I get a pedal. I don't know. It's not free. I mean, there's labor involved on the other side. I mean, between editing, and I think like 60 Cycle Hum was talking about it, like how many hours he puts into like a single video edit, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is because you have to, like you said, learn the pedal. Right? You write for the pedal. A lot of people do. I tend to just pick things that are more consistent. And filming and editing, it's like 10 hours.
Yeah.
And then when you're doing it for like if you're just doing it for a straight trade for a $230 pedal, you can do the math of like what the minimum wage of your labor is there pretty easily. And then you add a fee on top of that, and it makes it a little bit better. But yeah.
No, definitely.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a business. And I think some of the inclination when people are like, oh, I want to get free pedals. Because what they're seeing is just the content that's been posted. What they're seeing is this person spends their whole week dicking around with pedals and just having a great time. What they don't see is that's 10% of their week.
Exactly.
The other 90% of the week is in front of a Mac, sipping on coffee, clicking and going, does this thumbnail look good?
No, for sure.
Yeah, like, let me find my thumbnail. Let me make sure the ducking levels are correct. Let me manually adjust it so that, like, I'm not cutting off my own sentence. Or like, I started talking before the ratio for the gate kicked in for the ducking. I'm like, I gotta go back and fix that now.
No, for sure. And a lot of I'm not sure if it's, for a lot of people, it's like we're doing this on top of maybe like day jobs as well. So it's kind of like, you work all day.
Most of us.
You get home, you have only so many hours of free time, and you're like, filling it up with this type of stuff. Like, I know it's become such a case. Like, I don't even play through my pedalboard anymore. I'm not sure if you've experienced the same thing. It's like I'm only just like writing.
My pedalboard's picked up. Yeah.
Yeah, I only like essentially play music for demos recently, which.
Yeah, and that's a bummer. I'm like trying to record something, like just for me, for the first time in a long time, and I might film that whole process, but it's just not what I've been able to do. I was talking and we have this big group chat with a bunch of other demo artists. I'm like, I can't tell you the last time I read a book. It was obviously Kathy Valentine's book now that I think about it, because I read it for the podcast. It was a great book. Everyone should read Kathy Valentine's book. Also, congratulations, Kathy, for the Go-Go's finally getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Despite one former Rolling Stone editor's best efforts to keep them out.
No, yeah. but definitely. And I find like, I'm not sure if you've experienced this also, but I feel like for the longest time now, I'm like writing very short pieces just for, the setup of my demos. And then I try to go back and like, okay, I'm going to write for me. And it's like, I've forgotten how to write like lengthier pieces, how to, make a song structure. Cause like your brain is not, it's not in that mindset. It's just like into like 5 to 10 second loops or 20-second loops. And that's like, and writing regularly is a struggle after, and
yeah, I've had some success pulling those snippets, like things I would write for when She Shreds one riff a day before I started doing demos was a huge boon and like making me play and write more. Yeah. So I was able to pull a lot from that into actual songs I was working on. But like even my EP that I have, Self-Objectification with No Remorse, which you can get on iTunes and streaming. It's a lot of short songs. But at the same time, I think that's fine. I also grew up listening to Guided by Voices, so I don't really give a shit about long songs. I was playing guitar with one woman, and I don't think this woman had a single song that was under 5 minutes long, and I was like, these are long. These are really long songs, girl. Like, I don't think they need to be this long. I don't think, and they were all like ballads. I'm like, it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of the same thing.
Well, like I grew up listening to metal. It's weird because I listened to a lot of metal younger, and it's like for me, it's like a song is like 6 to 7 minutes, So I feel like if I can't,
Andrew's like,
sounds about right, So if I can't make a song that's 3 minutes long, I feel like I'm failing deeply, But it doesn't really matter.
I used to think that a song had to be 4 minutes long, and now I'm like, no, a song can be 75 seconds long.
Actually, some of those songs are really like there's like a Tycho song that's like I think it's like 1 minute and 35 seconds or maybe just under 2. I'm like, can this be a longer song? And I just like loop it, but there's something like that leaves you wanting, but that's like what's great about the song also.
But you want people to want more, right? Yeah. Like if I opened a title and went to B1000 by Guided by Voices, it would be like a bunch of short songs that are just bangers, like Game of Pricks. Oh, that's a great song. Kicker of Elves is a great song. These are real song titles. Andrew's like, I'm bored. Yeah. They have one song that is over 3 minutes long on this record, and the rest, one's only 32 seconds. Demons Are Real is 48 seconds.
Demons Are Real.
Awful. Yes.
The younger me would have loved.
Have you all not listened to Guided by Voices? Y'all.
No, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's experienced this, but like I feel like for whatever reason, the easier access to music, like streaming the services, has made it harder for me to find something new. The idea like it's so accessible, but I just lean on everything I already know. Like,
yeah. No, that is a thing. It's just really. I don't know if you feel this way too, Andrew. Like, how do you find new stuff to listen to?
I mean, the answer that I probably don't want to share is Spotify, but
that's fine. That algorithm is important.
Usually what I do is I'll go through and listen to stuff from my childhood. It's like categories of music that I've always found inspiring and nostalgic. Would be like a little bit of country, but that's always a really hard sell for anything contemporary for me. So when I think like Garth Brooks, Clint Black, like that's all kind of what I grew up on. Yeah. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get into something else there, but pop punk, metal, alternative rock, kind of those three categories are where I tend to lean into. And so what I'll do is I'll go look for a playlist and start looking for, if I'm trying to seek out something new, I'll look for a band that I don't recognize in those playlists, go hit the rabbit hole and decide if I like them or not.
Yeah, the Tidal app has really good algorithmic playlist, and it'll call them separate mixes. So it's like it's taking what I already listened to, instead of giving me one big playlist that has a little bit of country, a little bit of rock and roll, a little bit of pop punk and stuff. It'll make like different ones. So it's like, oh, you listened to a lot of like Maren Morris last week. Here's some and Casey Musgraves. You listened to a bunch of country, so here's a country playlist. You listen to Always, so here's like a bunch of like Camera Obscura and similar bands to Always. And I really like that. But I still like seek out a lot of stuff based on what my friends are talking about. Even on Twitter, there's this great record that came out by a woman named Katie Kirby, and I'm just obsessed with that record now. And I think I just saw her tweet, like someone retweeted her tweeting about how she worked so hard on the record and it finally came out. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm going to listen to that because she seems really proud of it. And it's great. I love that record.
I'm a little bit embarrassed to say how I find new music. I don't know if it's embarrassing, but you know that guy, Anthony Fantano? Do you ever watch his YouTube stuff? That the bald dude, he's like he's always reviewing. He's a bit too intense. Sometimes I find him kind of, I won't say more now, but yeah, it's I forget what it's even called. I just know it's like, it's on my subscription, so it comes up. I don't even know what his YouTube account is called, but it's just Anthony Fantano, and he reviews everything and anything. And I just check out anything that like has an 8.0 and above, because I feel like if he's not liking it, then it's like, why am I gonna like it?
The Needle Drop is his channel. The Needle Drop,
yeah, that's it.
I can already tell he's intense. Like I got like 5 seconds of that trailer, and he's like, ah! Wow, that's a lot of review my band.
Review. How's my pedalboard?
Sunday Crush. Oh yeah. So I know we want to talk a little bit about the Instagram account. I would call it a curated collection of pedal boards. How did that start?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't remember quite. I just remember just be like, I like pedal boards. I was like looking a lot of like in the hashtags. I'm like, oh cool. It'd be cool if I would just thought if I would share people's board, we could just start having a conversation about boards in general. And then it kind of, I didn't expect it to be anything more than like just a few people. And then it just exploded very quickly. And I'm not even sure why. Like, it's just, I don't know. From my perspective, it's like everyone's like asking me stuff. And from my perspective, it's just like, I'm just reposting pictures, right? And,
but people love it. It makes people stay to like have their pedal board feature. It's so nice.
I know, and I kind of feel bad because it's way bigger than I can manage myself. So I get like 100 messages a day, and I just can't go through all of them. And there's only 365 days in a year, right? So I can only pick so many and answer so many. I just feel bad because I know it makes people's days, and I just some people just will never hear from me, and I feel bad about it.
Yeah, but you gotta like take the reins on your own time, because that's our most valuable asset as humans is our time that we have, because it's one of the few like completely limited resources. And you can't, if you spent your whole day responding to people, which I'm sure that you could, it would be too much. And like you can't just like, and then you can't just feature everybody, because then people will unfollow because it'll be too much spam. It's a very fine line.
It defeats the purpose like of the day. It's one a day.
Yeah.
Occasionally,
just one.
Occasionally two. By the way, I loved Andrew's like hair thing before.
His hair is just flipping while he's having trouble with his IEMs.
Yeah, so after we came back, it was like way quiet. The output from Zencastr is way quieter, and so there was a couple points where, like, I think I understood what was just said, but it was like just quiet enough for me not to get it, and so I adjusted a couple of settings, and now I literally have the output volume from my PC maxed out to 100% everywhere I can find it, and you guys still sound a little quiet, so I don't.
Yeah, I can see my waves and know that I came back quieter also. It's pretty frustrating, but
yeah, I don't know if it's like the input or the overall output volume, but here, let me back off the microphone here.
Yeah.
So I'll just, it was like, is it my did my IEM extension cable decide it was going to disconnect slightly or apologies for that.
All good. We were just talking about
Pedalboards. No, but
aggregators, and that Instagram refuses to verify you.
Yeah, that's they actually say request a verification, which I don't know. I'm not like super concerned about my privacy generally, but like they ask you to like send a picture of your like driver's license and like some kind of, passport. And I'm like, okay, for me, it's kind of worth it to give this information, like a photo, if I can get that blue check mark. And then I didn't get it, and the message is like, "Oh, we don't verify aggregator accounts." And it's like, but damn it, I had to give you my freaking driver's license to get refused. I hate this.
You have all of my information. What the hell?
And my photo. I don't like to show my face.
No, my face. That's all I have. It's private.
You're probably fine as long as you don't also answer like those questions on Facebook. They're like, oh, like your mother's maiden name plus like your childhood pet in the street you grew up on is your stripper name.
And your first car, the make and model of your first car. Where did your parents meet? Like stop giving your personal information.
But then they just like wrap it up in a package of like, oh, like this is like a fun game. Like let's find out what your stripper name is, or let's find out like would you survive the zombie apocalypse?
Your blood type plus your color of your eyes will tell you what superhero you are.
Right. What's your suit?
Blood type.
Definitely, like, what I find, it's like such a stupid problem to have, but I find like with this is like people want me to be an expert on everything. Like they'll ask me like very technical, and I just don't know. And then it's like if I tell them I don't know, like am I ruining the whole like theater of like
yeah.
But I don't know.
People talk to me and they'll be like, how does this compare to this other specific guitar? I'm like, I have never played that guitar. How does this compare to like EMG active pickups? I'm like, I don't know.
Less compressed is the answer, always.
Not as hot.
Well, people ask me like, what about like this specific I heard this pedal has this specific germanium transistor. Can you tell me if whether it makes it? It's like, I don't know, man. I there's no way to know.
Yeah, I can't know everything about everything that comes in, and I very much appreciate that people think I'm an expert. But sometimes people will be like, "How do I get this very specific sound from this band?" Like, people ask me like, "How can I sound like Steve or Tad from The Hold Steady?" I'm like, they're pretty accessible.
Just ask them.
Very accessible.
Yeah. I'll be like, I like Tad posted a picture. It looks like he just has like 3 boosts on his board and a bunch of delays. Like, there are pictures of their boards.
No.
Maybe start with some box amps. I don't know. I don't try to sound like Steve and Tad. I love what they do, but they sound like them.
That's really good. I think maybe people start asking me that, but like, yo, just ask them. Ask them.
Yeah.
Like the guitarist of that band has like 1,000 followers. He'll see your message.
Yeah.
No, it's like if you're asking me about like how to sound like Dave Grohl, I'm like, well, you cannot ask Dave Grohl, but also there are resources like Equipboard where you can see what Dave Grohl is playing through. Like,
I feel like the window, like between like the amount of followers a musician has, like to indicate whether or not they would actually respond to you, and then the window into like, or the window between that and if your board and equipment is on Equipboard is like really small. Like if you're asking about someone who's like in that really awkward little in between space, sorry.
Yeah, it's hard. Sorry.
Give it a year, they'll be in they'll either have made it or they will have fallen off, and you'll have an answer then.
Yeah, sometimes people will be like, how can I sound like Prince? I'm like, you can't. Sorry. Boss pedals and lots of practice, and also maybe be a genius. That's how you sound like Prince.
And oodles of raw sexual energy.
So much. Just so much.
And I can't offer that, so I will never sound like Prince.
No.
That last part's a deal breaker, right? You can get
the rest of it. I already have it. Yeah.
I got the boss pedals, but I don't have that je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, it's like the carpet on the chest and the abs, and sorry.
The hair.
The carpet. He had some chest hair, but I wouldn't call it a carpet.
What I find the most interesting about the page is like, I think the most stuff I get is people asking me to justify why they bought a cheap pedal, and it's like, hey, if you like that, like, it's fine. Like everyone's like has this deep shame, like, hey, I bought this like Joyo. Is that a good? Like, would you recommend that? And it's always like, do you like it? I love it. It's like, well, that's really what matters. Like,
yeah.
Right. I mean, we've all contributed to child labor at some point in our consumer careers anyway, so.
It's true.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Andrew, to the lawyers at Joyo, Andrew said it, not me.
Sorry. Did you say Joyo? I thought you said something else that I'm not going to name.
No, we're not going to name that. We know. We've talked about it before.
But I know I said I'm not an expert, but I kind of used the page to like downplay some myths, and I think I spoke about it a little bit, like analog drive-through. Like someone asked me like just recently, like today, and they're like, "Oh, the R1, how's the analog? Like they don't have analog drive-through on that. Like, how do you feel about that?" It's like I didn't even know the pedal didn't have like analog drive-through, and at
a certain point, like, can you really tell?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
And if I have
people
to
that pedal in particular, people said that to me also about not having analog drive-through. I'm like, that's the deal breaker? Doesn't the D1 have analog drive-through as an option though?
I don't like, that's like one of those features of pedals. Like I'll like my mind will see it, but like my caring mind, like my give a shit mind will just be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, does it sound good?
Yeah.
It sounds.
If it sounds good, it sounds good. Yeah.
Right. And then, like, there's even like the whole tone suck. Like every time, like on the gear page, there's always like every week there's always like this pedal does it tone suck, and it's like if you have a pedal board with a drive, just like up the tone on the drive. Like I don't know, this whole like obsession.
Just compensate it. That's why it has a volume knob.
Well, I mean, there's that. I mean, some pedals legitimately do have a little bit of a tone sex. Like I've got a DoD FX65 that I love the sound of, but if it's in the chain of anything, it definitely like I can tell. But what I've done previously to work around that is at one point I just had like a single channel looper pedal. I just stuck it in that, and that way when it was on, it made a great sound, and when it was off, it wasn't sucking anything, and it's not an issue.
No, for sure. There are ways around it. Like even like with volume pedals, like I remember people were like, oh, like the VP Juniors, like there's like massive like tone suck, and it's like, well, put a drive.
Because you're using your tuner out.
Well, it's also like you can compensate. Like I just put like one drive pedal before, one drive pedal out, and then I just like pump the tone, and it's like that. It really, like, to be honest, like I think people don't realize they can use other pedals to build their sound. So like it's like, yeah, there was a bit of a tone suck with the volume pedal, but then like the drive pedal I put after to compensate, like it was such a better sound than just without the volume pedal in the whole like, I guess, effect chain, you know. So
yeah, looking at it as like a whole picture instead of the sum of its part. Like It's the sum of its parts. It's not the individual things. Like, it's fine to have something like a dark pedal, even if you don't like dark sounds, if you have something else that can compensate for that.
Yeah. People not really thinking in terms of like layering textures. That's why I like pedalboards. It's like, it's really just a like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'm not sure if, I mean, I have a lot of pedals, but like sometimes if I take out one pedal and I replace another, and it's like that pedal changes the context of everything around. So it's like you just start moving all the other things around, and it's like it's just something new. It's like it really is a system, right?
Oh, I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's the fun. That's why, like, every time you change one pedal, like, it's so hard to change one pedal on your board, because then you're like, oh, well, you know, this would sound really good now if I put this on.
For reverbs,
need more reverbs. Absolutely. Yeah, the D1 did not have dry, analog dry.
Hasn't bothered me.
Didn't even know.
Yeah, you like that one, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I finally, since all the moving stuff happened, I finally plugged into an amp this week. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. But it was also a great slice of humble pie of like, oh, if I don't touch a guitar for 6 weeks, I forget things.
Yes,
and I make mistakes.
This pedal doesn't have analog drive-through, and no one complains about it, and it's amazing. So
I can't see because of the resolution.
It's Nemesis?
Like Source Audio. Yeah,
Nemesis. Okay. Source Audio.
Yeah. I mean,
I haven't actually played one of those yet, but I've heard nothing but good things.
I played one at the Guitar Store when they were on Aurora.
They're really good. Source Audio is like, I feel like they're one, I don't know. They make really high quality effects. I feel like if you're like really like, you care about like studio grade, like high quality, I'm surprised they don't talk about Source Audio more often. And it's not a plug. I mean, I just feel like people should talk about it. No one mentions them, to be honest, because like so much shit comes my way on the account, and it's just like, I'm always surprised that they don't get spoken about more, right?
There are always brands that surprise me.
I wonder if Source Audio's problem isn't that they underprice things. Because, okay, I'm going to go on a limb here if you'd humor me for a moment. So Source Audio stuff clocks in like underneath where Strymon or Maris, or even I think they fall under even GFI these days for some of their higher end stuff.
The Nemesis delay is $300, and the D1 isn't that $400? The D1?
Honestly, don't know off the top of my head, but the impression I get from moderating the worship group that I moderate is a lot of folks will post like, hey, which delay reverb combo is going to be best for worship? Which we can argue about why that's a terrible question another day. And they'll just post a bunch of stuff. So like, it's like a Night Sky and a Volante, and then a Big Sky and a Timeline, and just kind of going down the line of like all of the heavy hitter, like classic combos. And then there's the Source Audio Nemesis. And I'm looking at this going, dude, you're playing 3 songs a week. That's way more than what you'll ever need. And it's going to sound just as good as everything else. If we're being really honest, it's just going to be, it's what algorithms do you want is what it's really going to come down to. But the sense I get is like, oh, these other brands are king for X, Y, and Z. And I can't help but find myself wondering, is there a sense of like, oh, I didn't spend enough money? And there's the whole like, to an extent, for some people, pedal boards is like a look at how cool I am. Yeah, that's right. That's my board. You jealous? I think there's kind of that dynamic going on, and the Source Audio stuff with a price tag alone doesn't quite have that sexy factor to stroke people's egos, which I'm totally okay with.
It looks to me a little, I mean, it doesn't have the same aesthetic personality that I think a lot of people also want. I don't want to say it looks like a Boss pedal, and I think this is probably bad. It's bad for them that there are brands like Joyo that put out stuff that looks not dissimilar. I don't know. The Nemesis delay is $300. That's the same price as the D1. A lot more algorithms, but I look at it and I think like I have the DD200, and I bet it can do a lot of this, if not all of it.
The cool thing about this is the app that they have. So they have like a user app on your phone. And sorry, I have cat hair behind this. I'm just gonna throw it out right now because it was.
I've got cat hair all over my jacket. You're fine.
So yeah, the algorithm. They have like an app, and you can like it's like live. Like you edit on the app, and it edits on this. And then they have like the community of stuff. So that's the only thing that the DD200 would be lacking. but like I really
but the DD200 is also $50 less expensive.
Yeah. And
the impression I get from the Source Audio, like the app ecosystem, is it's what TC Electronic wanted Tone Print to turn into, and just could never really actualize thanks to its acquisition to another larger company that didn't lean into that as much.
I will say I need to reread the manual on the DD200 because I'm doing something wrong with that pedal lately.
I'm glad you spoke about like the $50 less expensive. I'm not sure if you've seen this like phenomenon on the gear page where people are complaining about pedal prices as though like the only thing that costs money in a pedal is like the parts that go in it, like as though people don't have like overhead and salaries.
$20 worth of parts, and then like Big Ear sold $20 worth of parts, and it was like you'd be like, "What does it build? What does it build?" And Grant would be like,
"You didn't pay me to take the time to develop something. You didn't pay me to take the time to do marketing and brand development to get it into your hands and distribution and all the other things that go into it."
Yeah, you didn't pay me for. You paid me for $20 worth of parts.
Yep, and
you can do the rest yourself. I think a couple people did think something, or they said they were going to. I'm not sure if anybody ever actually did. There's no PCB. It's just parts.
Yeah, but you know what's nice? It's like it's nice that you can make it, but like it's not that nobody can make it, but it's like it's also you're paying for someone else making it, right? Like I don't know, it's just like this weird concept of like if I can make it for $20, that's what it should count. It's like that's great for you, but like this person needs to eat. Their employees need to eat. They need some benefits. Like,
and people treat content creation the same exact way as well.
Yeah, that's true. And we were talking about that earlier. But like this took me 2 hours to build. I'm sure I could get it in less than an hour after I make a bunch. But like at Seattle's minimum wage, that's at least $30 worth of labor. Plus,
and like, minimum wage really should be for unskilled labor.
Yeah, and this is like. Soldering is skilled labor, albeit people who can solder, and for that matter, people who can weld. Welding is one of the least lucrative trades. I learned lately.
Also, like DSP, like coders are premium. Like it's a lot of money to hire a coder.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's not...
Finding a software dev is not cheap.
Yeah, but it is interesting when people are like, "Oh, it's just $20 worth of parts," as if the point of a business isn't to turn a profit. Well, it's okay. So if it's $20 worth of parts, I'll sell it to you for $50, or at least $40 to make my margins, reasonable. And like Andrew was saying, people do treat content creation the same way. Like I'm a writer, and some people I've pitched articles to value that, and some people just want free content, and they will publish it on their website. And before you ever talk money or edits or anything like that, and then you send them an email that says, "What the fuck? Why did you publish this? Did you think you were getting this for free?" I guess, and I learned a valuable lesson to not send a draft without also sending an invoice.
I think it's like art in general, right? Like I just feel like the concept, like even like pedals, like it's kind of it's a build, but it's like an art, like it's a design from someone's mind. And I feel like art, whether it's like painting, drawing, craft, like writing, it's like music. People think like it's like it doesn't, like there's no investment in there, so it should be free type of thing. But it's
and
like,
also that you love it. You should do it for the love of it. No, that's hobbies. Even then, like there's a point where like if for what I do, if I'm benefiting somebody else, then I want to get paid for it.
No, exactly. And then the thing is kind of like the other thing that gets me upset. It takes me out because like it's a whole forum dedicated to like their love of gear or the love of the companies they like. But then it's like the company stays alive by you buying their shit and then making like if they're not making a profit, the shit you like won't be available. Like, you know what I mean? It's just this weird concept. It's like I really like that pedal and that company, but I don't want to pay for their shit.
Well, I guess you don't really like it, but also like, yeah, it's okay to be like, this is not affordable for me right now, or like this is not something that I can invest in. And that is very much more personal situation. I don't want to say it's a personal problem, but I mean, how you spend your money shows what you value. And you can say, like, I think that's cool, but I don't value it enough to, like, spend the money. Like, I can be honest. Like, I've demoed guitars, and some of the more expensive ones, I think, this is a really nice guitar. It's worth this amount of money. I would never spend this much money on this guitar.
No, but then there's, like, guitars like this, and this is the best guitar I own. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, holy shit. It's, like, they should... I know Fender, Squier, whatever, they can up the price on that and it'll still be worth it. It's really good.
Well, that's like what you said, like what the Starcaster that someone saw in a store and bought because you said your friend said it played like a much more expensive guitar. Like, I think in the video, I'm like, this plays like a $600 or $700 guitar and it's $350, $400.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I saw another video where a guy picked up an $180 guitar that he did a lot of work on. He's like, not everyone knows how to file their own nuts and like intonate it on their own, and you've put in the work. This thing plays like a $250 guitar. Okay, so you did a $75 setup on a $180 guitar. Yeah, it actually kind of sounds like that would be $255. Like in Seattle, that setup would be $85. So if you buy a $180 guitar, do an $85 setup, and then you're like, this plays like a $250 guitar. Guess what? You lost money.
Yep.
Like it plays like a lesser guitar. Okay. Then what you've invested in it. I'm like, why would you brag about that? I don't know, man.
Yeah, for sure. But you're right. Like you have to think like some people want more expensive stuff. Not everyone can afford it. But like I think like the pedal niche, like there's enough range of prices that you can find something that sounds good for what you can afford. Like totally. I'm just gonna be honest. Like not to promo Joyo too much, but like you want an Iridium, you can't afford it, but you want Iridium just for like a Fender type of sound. I mean, the Joyo American sound is $30 and it's fantastic. So, well, it sounds great. Yeah. Sorry,
I had one for a while. It does the job.
It does, yeah. And that's the kind of thing, because like it's probably also like a point of where you are in your life. Like if your budget for that kind of sound is under $100, then you're probably not making a lot of money from your music, or that's just not where you want to spend your money. So like if you're a professional, like, yeah, you can probably get by on playing like a $250 guitar or use Squier. But if you're a professional and you want something that's like definitely going to feel good, like and you can justify it as like a work expense. Like I do editing all day, like not all day, but like I'll spend a day editing stuff. Could I do that on a $500 laptop? Yeah, it would take longer. It would probably not look as good. I'd have to cut some corners. I wouldn't be able to put out like the quality in the time.
Set a video to render and come back on after the weekend.
I used to do that. I used to do like, I'll edit, I would go downstairs after dinner. I'd edit a video. I'd have it exporting. I'd come down the next morning and then it would be edited. And then that was when it really sucked. If I like forgot to do something, like if I didn't edit it right, like if I accidentally like mucked up the intro, need to go back and like redo some text, I would be like, I guess I'm not releasing this today.
That's actually my life. My laptop sucks to render stuff, and sometimes I forget to like change because like I'll use old videos with like the templates and just change the text in them. Right. But then I'll forget to do the titles, and it's like 5 hours of rendering, and it's like, oh fuck, I left the old fucking title in the video.
Like,
Jesus.
This is not the R1. This is something different.
Fuck.
Yeah. No, I've been there. But so that's the other kind of thing. Like there's a difference between gets the job done and is like acceptable audio file quality, but then like maybe you're a lo-fi person, maybe you're like a William Berger type, and you want to do the lo-fi. In that case, then you probably don't want like the fanciest stuff, like the amp with the most headroom and the crystallist cleans. You probably want something a little weird, or you want to spend actually I think they're about $1,000 right now if you want to get the Chase Bliss Generation Loss on Reverb.
Fuck.
There's a part of me like kind of thinking through all this, like it's a double-edged sword in terms of like the ego that people have when it comes to brands and not being willing to accept like, look, dude, you've got $500. You're going to get $500 worth of gear. Sorry, you're not going to get studio grade professional equipment.
No,
but
and that's okay.
So there's a part of me like wants like that. People like just to admit it. There's an ego death there. We're all happy, and just you're okay with whatever gear you can afford. But there's the other part of me is like, well, the flip side is that there's brands that really that rely on that marketing. That not I don't know if rely is a fair word, but like there's an element where like the marketing you're paying for a brand name, they've worked hard to build that up, and it's working. So
yeah, well, you can look at things like the Chase Bliss Automaton series, and like I've played some streaming gigs with the preamp Mark II. I don't think I would play like a club gig with it. So like now that shows are going to come back, I'm going to change my pedal board and take it off and use it as a studio tool, probably mostly. Like I'm afraid for it if I'm playing like a dingy club.
You should get the fader cover, the fader lid.
And before you do that, read the Gear Page thread about the fader lid.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you want to read that one, but maybe you...
No, I don't.
Well,
I do not,
one thing I do want to say, I've noticed the people who complain most about the price of pedal boards, I always go look at their Instagram profile, and invariably they always have like 3 Les Pauls, or like, it's like, well, you have like $8,000 worth of guitars, but like the $2,000 pedal board, it's the same guitar, but it's the $2,000 pedal board that's unacceptable. You know, like I don't know. You know, like I had people complain about like the Chase Bliss $900, but they buy like a $5,000 guitar, like boutique guitar.
Well, that's just not how you want to spend your money, and that's cool. It's like I remember I talked about the simplicity of my board, and my pedal board has some expensive pedals on it, including my amp. Which so like my amp really skewed like that. I had the Milkman. Really skewed the whole price of the board overall by a lot. And then I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's what all that stuff would retail for, but that's not what I paid for it.
No, it's true.
Is, but like I remember, I was like, yeah, sometimes simple stuff is really expensive. That's the case with like designer jewelry. It's a case with a lot of designer fashion. Like you want jeans that have a weird pattern on them, $25 all day. If you just want like a nice pair of jeans that doesn't have a pattern on it.
Jay Cross has entered the chat.
Oh gosh. Every time, okay, so a lot of people don't know. Jay Cross from the Guitar Nerds podcast, this was so long ago. Yeah. He posted a picture and it's just like his pant legs. And he said like, I've been wearing these jeans for weeks. I just noticed there's a weird pattern on them. This is the worst day of my life. Like he had the douchiest jeans and he just didn't notice. Because like, I gotta be honest, like if your vision isn't like, men tend to have not as great vision as women. Like y'all literally can't see as many colors. And it might possibly be because you don't name them. That's a weird psychological thing to get into later. But every couple of months, for some reason, that post by Jay pops up in my timeline, and it makes me laugh so hard every time I see it. This is the worst day of my life.
Well, it happened. I had bought a pair of jeans, and like after like months, I realized, wait, there's a shine on these jeans. How the hell? How haven't I noticed this? It was like it's not just like it was a shine. It was like a waxed finish. I'm like, holy crap! I don't want this. It was so I wore them for.
Were they water resistant with that wax finish?
No, I don't even know why they were like. They just look like, when you like get like polyester, like and you rub it and like it burns, but like it's like very shiny. It was
because it melts. That's why polyester melts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, and I was just like, I was just wearing shiny jeans for months. Wow, great.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to catch fire when you're wearing polyester because it will melt to your skin.
Oh,
sweet dreams, everybody.
Well, just to be clear, I want everyone to know, like, I'm not saying more expensive pedals are better or you should feel bad about buying cheap pedals. Like, I would buy like a Boss DS1 every day of the week and OD3 every day of the week. Like, I'm just going to be honest.
It's just, it's really cool to see what people can come up with and these pricier pedals. But like, I think that if you can't have fun with cheap pedals, you're probably just not a very fun person.
I'll agree with that.
Harsh, but fair.
I can't imagine somebody coming at me for saying that, but it's kind of like saying if you can't enjoy like a dive bar every once in a while, like I don't know, it's just probably not my
I think maybe it's like if you can enjoy the cheap pedal because it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, this doesn't do all the things I want to do, but if you can't have a little bit of fun with some limitations, that's another thing. Cheap pedals often have like those limitations you have to be creative to work around, and that really stretches your brain muscles. Like that's cool. That's like we talk about you should always have one pedal on your board that you have no idea how to use.
Yeah.
Something that's too weird, doesn't fit into the genre you're playing, just forces you to, in between sets, you're like, I wonder if I did XYZ, if this would work.
I'm going to admit something. Anything with an envelope filter, I don't know how to use those pedals. Like, I feel like anything that's like dynamic
You need to put
control.
an envelope filter on your board this week.
Yes.
I think that's the thing I struggle most with the Enzo, like the whole like envelope control. It's like I suck at envelope controlled effects.
Yeah, that's just like very small adjustments until you get it just right. Cool. Well, we've actually been recording for a really long time.
Yeah, this is a long episode.
This is a long episode.
I talk a lot.
No, that was actually really fun
good.
too. It was fun to actually like have an episode that was very much about talking about gear.
It's like, sir, this is a podcast.
Yes,
you're supposed to do that.
Yes, you're supposed to talk. Every guests say that all the time. Like, sorry, I talk. I'm like, no, it's why we want you on the podcast.
No, but
because that's literally all a podcast is.
I'm usually the type of person where people are like, if I meet them in the street, like, I gotta go now. I'm sorry. Okay, you can go. Else I'll keep talking.
That's all good. So where can people find you, Andy?
There's a lot of underscores, but it's like pedalboard _of_the_day with the @ sign at the beginning.
That's on Instagram?
It's on Instagram. And I guess on YouTube. But please, it's pedalboard on the day if it's YouTube, not pedal of the day.
Yes, those are different people. We'll get into that some other day.
Please don't give them subscribers. Give me subscribers.
Yes, give Andy subscribers. Don't subscribe to Pedal of the Day thinking you're getting Andy. Cool. Andrew, anything else you want to close us out with?
You have a great name.
You have a great name.
Thank you. That's all I got for today.
There's too many Andys and Andrews in the pedal world.
My boss at my day job is named Andrew, so he just goes by Drew and I go by Andrew. And then someone called me Andy the other day. I'm like, I'm Andrew.
It's like calling me Emmy or M without asking first. I don't like it. Well, everyone, thank you for watching. Thanks for understanding. Please check out the links in the video description for Pedalboard of the Day and Rude Tech and all that. If you want to shop on Reverb or Sweetwater, please use our affiliate links. It helps us tremendously. We also have a Discord link if you want to use that to help us. If you want to put your music on the internet, you get 7% off. We get a kickback, a very small one. And it helps keep the podcast and the channel alive. If you want to sponsor this podcast, we do accept sponsorships for reasonable rates. Patreon.com/getoffset, getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. Whoo, lots of things. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for understanding. My name is Emily.
My name is Andrew.
That's Andy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.